go inside and see people's houses and the conditions that they're in. I really didn't have words to express when I was out looking around, and some of you may have seen me. I may have been to your house, and I kind of wanted to explain the process and where we are now. I wish I could sit here right now and give you an answer about FEMA, but I can't because they haven't declared us yet, but that really does not mean anything. And I want to assure you, I've been doing this for a long time. This doesn't mean anything. FEMA has a process, and we are along in the process. So I'll explain where we are, and then I'll try to answer your questions. When we have any sort of an emergency, we go through our state partners. It's the Office of Emergency Management in Albany. We did that right away. But what happened, this was unusual in that it was such a large-scale event that FEMA was actually triggered by President Obama prior to us asking for FEMA to be triggered, which is very unusual. That doesn't happen. But President Obama looked at the situation, saw the hurricane, and based on that information, he actually made a declaration before we asked for a declaration, before the state asked for a declaration. That's very unusual, and that's very good for us, because the hardest part is getting the president to make the declaration. It has to go from us up to the governor has to request it back to the president, and then the president declares. So we had that ahead of time. So, but that doesn't give us money. That just gives us the ability to move resources as needed, but it's the first step. After the storm hit, there was devastation in many states, and they did something very unusual. They did a flyover assessment, and they did that from helicopters and planes. They were able to do a flyover assessment, but they didn't fly over Putnam County. There is a logical reason that doesn't make sense to us or to me, but there is a logical reason. And I can try to explain this, but FEMA has a criteria. And the criteria is that New York State has to suffer $26 million in damage to get designation. Putnam County has to suffer $313,000 to get included, and that's on the public assistance. And I'll explain the difference between the two, but that's our first step. So what the state did is they went to counties that had higher numbers that had to be met, and they went out and did flyovers over that area, and they determined, based on the flyover, that those counties met the designation. That didn't leave us out. We weren't in the designation, but it didn't leave us out. It got the ball rolling for a designation now, for a public assistance designation, which is important for municipalities, and it starts the ball rolling on individual assistance. And I'll explain the difference between the two. Public assistance is here to fix the roads and municipality buildings, to put things back the way they were. We've used that numerous times. It works very well. FEMA inspectors come in, they look at the damage, and there's a very long process that begins. The federal government puts up 75% of the money. 25% could be matching funds from the municipality, from New York State. New York State could also put up 12.5%. We don't know what New York State is putting in, but we had our what we call preliminary damage assessment yesterday. So FEMA came on site with state representatives, and we did the public assessment. I went out and did that. We did some roads. We basically went to one area, and the evaluator that was with us said, I don't need to see any more. You've hit that criteria that you need. We can leave. But we still went around and looked at the roads that were destroyed. So that was very good for us. I'm very confident that we will get that, because that's the procedure, and we hit that amount. Individual assistance is a little different. Individual assistance is what you're looking for. You're looking for your individual assistance. You're looking for FEMA to give you funds so that you can put your personal lives back in order. And unfortunately, there is no criteria that you can wrap your fingers around. So you can't say, oh, you have $50,000 worth of damage, you're in. Oh, you've lost 10 houses, you're in. They don't give you a guideline. Instead, they come out and they assess. Now, what was beneficial for us, although disturbing, is that counties around us were declared IA, which is what we're looking for, individual assistance, and they were declared. They were declared, I don't know why. They just got their declaration, they got their designation. That's actually good for us, because the people that are around us, they kind of bring us right into the mix. But irregardless, we took FEMA out yesterday, and I know we made it to some of your houses yesterday. Adam Stiebling, the deputy commissioner, brought people out. I gave him a list, some people I had already seen, and I wanted to make sure that we got back to those residences. While we were there, the FEMA evaluators that were there looked at everyone. I think they went to about 20 places, and after that they said, I really don't need to see any more. We've seen enough. That's a good sign. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear them say, we've seen enough, we don't need to see any more. The person that was here is not able to make the declaration. It's above her. It has to go, it actually has to go to New York State and then to Washington, and then you get your designation. So there's just steps that have to be done. I'm very confident after hearing, there was actually a gentleman say, I don't need to see anymore, I'm done. I talked to him offline and privately, and he said he couldn't believe the devastation. He said he felt like I did. He said, you know, it's hard. This is what he does for a living. He says it's hard to go out and look at this because you want to reach out and tell someone, here's the help you want, I've got it, here's the check, do what you need to do.